I was one of three printer experts for WordStar, which was once the largest selling word processor on the market. Back in these early days of computers, long before Macs and Windows, each software package would write their own printer driver. A printer driver is a piece of software that allows a computer to communicate with a specific printer. It translates instructions into a format the printer can understand, like bold, italic, the font size, etc., etc. By the end of my time at WordStar, I'd written about 1,000 printer drivers, and being an expert in the field, I'd often appear in magazines. Before Windows 1 was released, I was even invited to teach Hewlett-Packard how to write printer drivers. In December 1990, I was transferred to California from the UK as it made more sense to have your printer expert based at corporate. One morning, I found a note on my desk with a long-distance number that said, "Call Carter, signed Susan." Susan was the president of WordStar's personal assistant, who was Scottish, and she had a very heavy accent. Who the fuck is Carter, I thought, and I filed it. In the waste paper basket, of course. A week later, there was another note. "Mark, really important, call Carter ASAP, signed Susan." I called the number and a lady answered the phone. "President Carter's office?" Being totally uneducated in American ways and a bit of a cocky young man in those days, I politely said, "This is Mark Hennessy from WordStar. Can I talk to Mr. Carter, please?" "You mean President Carter?" "No, I mean Mr. Carter. I believe he's not the president anymore. He is still referred to as President Carter." "Not in my book." This went back and forth for a while until I finally said, "Mr. Carter wants to talk to me, not the other way round, and my time is short, so are you going to put me through to him?" She did. And being the well-mannered person I am, I said, "President Carter, this is Mark Hennessy from WordStar. How can I help you?" So it turns out he must have spoken to Susan at some point, as his immediate response was, "Is there anyone at WordStar who's American?" His accent was really hard to understand, and about the only words I could get out of him, like made any sense, were HP DeskJet 500 and WordStar 6. He passed the phone to his son Chip, who was explaining to me that is trying to work on printing his book on a brand new HP printer, and it was printing junk. I said I would have to have a look into it, and likely I would need to send them a printer driver when it's available. I'd actually written the driver about a year earlier, but not liking to make things seem very simple, I waited a week and then gave Susan a diskette and asked her to FedEx it to President Carter. Another week passed and there was a new note on my desk. "Call Carter." Damn, must be something wrong, I thought. So I made the call without delay. "President Carter's office? This is Mark from WordStar. Can I talk to Mr. Carter, please?" "You again?" This time she just put me through. "President Carter, this is Mark Hennessy from WordStar." "Ah, Mark, I wanted to personally thank you. The driver worked perfectly, and now I can finish my book. If there's anything I can ever do for you, don't hesitate to ask." I paused. "President Carter, thank you. There is something you can do for me." I whinged and moaned about having waited 6 months already for my green card. He said it wasn't really something he would get involved in, but as a former president, he would make a call or two. Chip took my details. 2 weeks later, the green card was in my mailbox, and that was the luck of the draw. It could have been one of my colleagues who dealt with Mr. Carter. Thank you.